Yo, what is up, everybody? How you doing? It's your boy. It's the Birdman from the Birdman Show. Go ahead and do it with me one time. That is right. Hey, those are some lovely birds there, Ace and Carrie. That was pretty awesome. But yes, thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Birdman Show. I am happy to be back. Ace, how are you doing, bud?
I'm doing fan-freaking-tastic.
Fan-freaking-tastic.
Carrie, I want to see if you agree with me on this. The reason why he started the countdown at 3 minutes till is because he didn't want to look at us anymore.
Probably.
Yep.
Yeah, and he didn't want to hear us anymore.
No.
Right.
I mean, I can still see
He
you at
needed
the
a
bottom
moment.
here in the studio. I can still see you at the bottom here in the studio, but at least I didn't have to hear you.
Right. Bickering like brother and sister.
Oh my God! Yes, that's how I love it. I love it. That's why we work so well together. Carrie,
Yes.
welcome back. How the heck are
Yeah.
you doing?
Doing pretty good. How are y'all?
Out freaking standing.
I just told you how I was.
Look, it's a y'all. It's a Southern thing. Just deal.
It's all good.
Not
Okay.
perfect.
Okay.
Mr. Know-it-all.
What?
Huh?
Just carry on. See how I did that?
Yeah, Roger that. Hey, first of all, like I said, I want to thank everybody for joining this this episode of the Birdman Show. Hey, do me a favor if you're out there in the studio audience, make sure you say hi, so that way we know who all is in here. Look, I'm excited because we're getting to revisit. We're doing our second installment of a new series that we started that was brought to us by Carrie called "You Be the Judge." I am looking forward to this case. The first one, Ace, I'm gonna ask you how'd you feel about the first episode?
The first episode, I wasn't feeling too good, so I really wasn't able to get into it like I wanted to. But it was interesting. It's a new concept, and I love it for the simple fact we don't have to do any research.
These
That
are
part
facts.
is amazing.
These are facts. Okay, so Carrie, since you were the one that actually brought this series to us, um, how'd you feel about the first episode? And then give us a reason why this new case, which we'll bring up here in a second, why you chose to do this one.
So I thought the first case was a lot of fun. It was kind of like a testing one since we had never done it before. So I thought it was interesting and fun, and I really like to see y'all's, as in you two and the audience, what they thought about if he was guilty or not guilty and what he was guilty of. And as far as this case goes, I decided to go a little bit lighter because of the topics with the podcast the past couple weeks. So maybe just a little breath of not quite so dark and twisted.
Wait, I thought that's why we were here. He's dark and I'm twisted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about the case.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was confused there for a sec too.
Carry on.
Carry on my wayward son. Anyways, that
Thank you.
brings me to my next thing. For the people out here who are watching right now, we would like for you to also be part of this episode. So throughout the episode, if you have questions you want to ask, if you think of something, definitely make sure you put in the comments. Definitely what we'd like to do is we would like to maybe pull you guys in as maybe jury members to help Ace and I come to a decision. And that's what we would love to be able to do. So definitely make sure you guys are engaging in the comments. That way we can get on here and we can have some fun. All right.
Because y'all are basically like our jury,
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
sort of.
Okay.
We'll
Are
go
you guys ready to get this bad boy started?
Absolutely.
All right, let's get this bad boy started. Okay, so Gary, what you're gonna do is I want you to walk us through kind of a little bit what's going on with this case, and let the viewers know exactly what we're going to be talking about here.
So this is case number 2. It's a prisoner's dilemma: escape or die. It's the state versus Eddie Carter. It occurred on June the 2nd, 2007. It happened at, and y'all are gonna have to forgive me, I'm probably gonna call this place Sunnydale at least 5 times, but it's Sundale State Prison. It's a minimum security prison. The defendant, Eddie Carter, is a twice convicted felon. The defense attorney is Emily, and I have no idea how to say that last name, so I'm gonna be referring her to as Emily the entire time. Darius Brown is an inmate at the time of the escape, and Jeremy Brown is the brother of Darius Brown, who is an inmate at the time of the escape. Um, we don't hear from either of them, but they play a pivotal role in the entire story of basically what happened. Witnesses are Emery Finley. They are an administrative assistant at the prison. Roberto Marquez is a deputy sheriff patrolling the mountain region about 10 miles from the prison. And the 2 defense witnesses are Lieutenant Robert Hawkins. He's a disciplinary hearing officer at another prison. And then, of course, Eddie Carter, who is going to testify on his own behalf.
So we're laying it all out there. Okay, all right. Okay, so I almost did it. I almost did it for you. I almost called it. Yeah, yeah, Sunnydale. I almost did it. So this is a Sundale State Prison. Okay. All right. So I guess let's just get into it. Now, wait a minute, before I ask that, okay, so I know you said that you had chose this one because it's a little bit more lighthearted, I guess, not lighthearted, but not as heavy as some of the last previous podcasts that we've done. So even though it was lighthearted, what really kind of drew you to this case? It was just simply because it was lighthearted and you probably didn't want to hit us with too hard of a case.
It's interesting. A prisoner escapes from prison. And did he do it for a good reason, or was he doing it just to escape from prison? Because I worked as a correction officer, and we had an escape. There's never a good reason in my mind when I was working there for a prisoner to escape. But I thought it was interesting because the way that it was laid out, and usually when there's a court case, the state has to prove that the person did it. In this case, it's a little bit different, and I'll explain that here in a little bit.
Okay. All right. Before we move on, Ace, do you have any questions before we move on?
Um, no, right now I don't. I'm actually interested to hear what actually transpired during this escape. So, carry on, Carrie.
All right. Without any further ado, let's rock this bad boy.
Okay, so just to kind of give you guys a little bit of information, Eddie Carter is a twice convicted felon. They do not specify what he is twice convicted of, but he is currently serving time for burglary. I'm assuming it's the same for his first conviction, but it never specifies. He's been convicted of 2 robberies at the time of his escape, and he was serving out a sentence of 5 years from his last offense. When he was caught in the next morning, he freely admitted to his escape and said that he would do it again if similar conditions existed. The defense attorney is determined to show you that certain conditions existed in her client's case that made it necessary for him to escape. Her theory is called the defense of necessity. In most criminal cases, the defendant has zero burden and does not have to prove anything. All they have to do is basically convince the jury to give them that shadow of a doubt. Have you guys heard that before, shadow of a doubt, when you're watching trials and stuff like that? This is
Of
not
course.
the case. This is reversed. This is on the defense to prove defensive necessity. Carter must prove his defense by preponderance of the evidence. So basically, he has to prove that he had absolutely no other choice but to escape the prison.
So, okay, I'm asking. Okay, so now, do they give any examples of reasonings why this necessity thing, uh, why there would even be a reason for that? I mean, other than going into exactly what the reason and they're going to say, did they ever give like an outline of, because you know how you have a law, then you have like the underneath things. Okay, you know, in circumstances, this could be okay. You could do this crime in in this law if it comes to this situation. Do they give any examples of that?
No, but the best I could think of without going into what's in this specific case would be like a self-defense claim. I had no other choice but to defend myself, and then you have to prove that. Yeah, if
Okay.
somebody's under duress.
All right. Well, I guess Ace, if you don't have any questions, if the audience members don't have any questions, lay it on us.
All right. So, in his brief opening statement, the prosecutor tells you that this is a very simple case. He only has to prove that Eddie Carter was confined in a state prison and that he left the facility without lawful authority. He calls Emery Finley, who is the administrative person at Sundale Prison, um, as the first witness and begins direct examination. Finley testifies that he's the administrative assistant. He states that Sundale is a minimum security prison without the usual walls or prison bars, which I thought was really strange, but it's 2007, so hey. So the DA asks, what does minimum security mean? And Finley responds that prisoners are sent to Sundale who have less than 1 year to serve on their time. Minimum security means that the prisoners live in dorms, but not like in cells or behind bars. There is no wall or high fence around the grounds. So the DA asks, so escape is not difficult. He said that's true. They can walk out at their own risk, but they know that if they do and they get caught, they can be sent back to a higher security prison for many more years. So they never try it.
Yeah, I do have a quick question. Say, okay, so because I'm not 100% sure about the whole prison system, how this works. Um, so when it comes to the minimum um, security prisons, okay, so is there is it just any criminal that has a year, or is it just certain criminals depending on their crimes?
Um, so I don't know a ton about a system like this, but I believe it's more of like the less violent criminals. And I believe they also rely a lot on the surrounding area to keep the prisoners contained. So I don't know if you guys remember, and I don't even know if it's still in existence, but several years ago there was a place called Tent City, and it was a prison that consisted of tents, and it was out in the middle of the desert. And yeah, they could escape, but they were literally in the middle of the desert. They would die before they got anywhere to actually escape because the desert would take care of them. Now, I don't know if places like this still exist, but it did in 2007.
Yeah, places like that still do exist. It's called marriage. I'm playing. I'm playing. I'm playing. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. People, relax. Sorry. I had to. I had to. I had to.
Both of y'all's women are in here, so I can't wait.
I mean, this prison is prison. The it, yeah, like Angel says, classification. It don't matter how you classify it. All right, I'm done.
Like I said, hey, listen. These are all jokes. Can't take a joke, man. It is what it is. But no, I'm playing. It's not. It prison. You're a prisoner of your own mind. So if you feel like you're in prison, that's what it is. Okay. No matter what. Just like I tell people all the time, when it comes to happiness, you can't make anybody else happy. Happiness is a state of mind. If they're not happy, that's because they're not happy with themselves. So you can never make somebody happy. Continue.
All right, so the
Bull.
DA asked, tell the jury what happened the morning of June 2nd, 2007. And Finley responded, as was my custom every morning, I called roll. That means all the prisoners had to come out of their rooms or wherever they were at the time and stand in the yard in formation and call roll, and everyone answered except Eddie Carter. And he said, well, what did you do then? And Finley responded that we searched his room and his locker. The locker was empty, and all of his belongings were gone. He was missing. No one had seen him that morning, so we immediately sent out an escape alarm to all law enforcement agencies. And then Finley points out the defendant, Eddie Carter, for the record, because they have to officially say that's him. And the DA asked, did you ever have any kind of inkling that he would escape? And he said, no, not at all. And he said, was there any possible reason why you knew he would do such a thing? And Finley responded, when Carter was at Mercy, that's another state prison, he complained of a death threat. So we moved him to Sundale, but he seemed content and never complained of any threats or anything like that. And he said, the DA asked, did you ever ask him if you felt safe at Sundale? And he said, I did several times. He said everything was fine. He was looking forward to getting out soon and changing his life. He had had enough of prisons. And so this is when the defense begins their cross examination. Emily asks, was Eddie Carter a good prisoner? And Finley responds, not only a good prisoner, he was a model prisoner. We never had trouble with him whatsoever. Emily said, you say you knew of no reason Carter would try to escape from Sundale, is that right? And he said, yes, that's right. And Emily asked, are you familiar with an inmate at Sundale named Jeremy Brown? And Finley says, yes, I know Jeremy Brown was at Sundale. He had been paroled recently, but he was an inmate at the time of the escape. And Emily asked, can you tell us when Jeremy Brown became an inmate at Sundale? And he looks through his paperwork and files, and he said Jeremy Brown was transferred to Sundale on May 30th, 2007. And Emily says, so that was just 2 days before Mr. Carter left. Yes, ma'am. And you told us in your testimony on direct examination that Carter was transferred from Marcy Detention Center. Are you familiar with an inmate there named Darius Brown? I don't know him. I know of him. And then she asked, were you aware that there was bad blood between Darius Brown and Eddie Carter at Marcy Prison? And that was the reason for Carter being moved to Sundale. And this boggled my mind. Finley turns to the judge and he says, do I have to answer, Your Honor? The record of the incident between Darius Brown and Carter at Marcy Prison has been sealed in the prison files in the interest of security. I have been instructed not to speak on the matter unless Your Honor orders me to do so. And the judge responds, this is a criminal case. We need to hear the truth, so I will instruct you to answer the question. And so Finley finally answers and he says, yes, there was what you call bad blood between them. Darius Brown made a death threat against Eddie Carter when they were both inmates at Marcy. That is why Carter had to be moved to Sundale. Y'all good so far?
So far.
Finley's a fucking idiot if he thinks that just because the events that happened between Darius Brown and Eddie are sealed for safety reasons. Yeah, they're sealed for safety reasons because he threatened to kill him.
And it's not like it was sealed by the state. It was sealed by the prison.
Right. And I do have to say that whenever you said Jeremy the first time, what I heard was Jeremy, me. Just saying. So whenever we go back and watch this episode, I'm gonna check that part. And if that is the case, I'm so doing a meme. Continue.
So special. Don't worry. I still got screenshots of you being frozen that I have not posted yet.
I ain't scared. Shit.
I got a whole book
Let's
ready
go.
to go.
Carry on, Carrie.
Uh-oh. Shots fired.
And then, okay, so Emily says, now when Jeremy Brown was received into custody at Sundale, were you aware that he is the brother of Darius Brown? Finley responded, I was not aware at the time, but I know it now. And I will admit, I should have been informed of the relationship. Somehow it slipped past us, but without our knowledge, which is a huge red flag no. That's something major that they always talk to each other about, all prisons. And then Emily asks, were you aware on the night before Eddie Carter escaped, Jeremy Brown, on the behalf of his brother, sent a death threat to Eddie Carter, telling Carter he would be dead in the morning? And Finley said, no, I was not aware of that, but that's still no reason for escape. Eddie should have told us. If he had, we would have protected him. Any questions about that before we move on to the next witness?
The only question that I've got is what do they consider their means of protection in a minimum security? I guess it'd still be a detention center because it's jail. It's not prison.
I can answer that question for you, Ace.
I mean, do they put them in solitary?
No. What they do is, okay, so this is minimum, right? So what they do is, they put them in a room together, all right, and they just throw a couple pillows in there, and they say, all right, pillow fight. And then they go at it for about 30, 45 minutes.
You're
And
stupid.
then after that, they all go around the campfire, they make some s'mores, and they sing
Kumbaya. Yeah.
At any prison or jail, they're still going to have a separate place for them to go, whether it be the infirmary or a segregation area or anything like that, in case
Or
of
band
like
camp.
somebody getting hurt or something like that. So they would still have a place to move him until they transferred him to a different facility, basically.
So like band camp.
Not like band camp.
Well, what I don't know what
I
band
think
camp you're going
Jeremy
to.
would be the one with the flute.
I swear to God, I can't wait with you two tonight.
Okay, hold up. Before I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize
He
to
does
you.
not.
I do apologize. I do. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Let's take a quick commercial break, trying to gather ourselves, a little woosah, okay?
Yourselves.
Composure. Okay, we're gonna do that, and we'll be back. We'll be right back with more of the Birdman Show. Hey, it's the Birdman here, and I have a question for you. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? If so, have you heard about Spotify for Podcasters and why it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place? Allow me to explain. Spotify for Podcasters has the tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone, tablet, or computer. And when hosting on Spotify for Podcasters, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. It's really everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And the best thing about it, it's totally free. So what are you waiting for? Go to podcasters.spotify.com to get started. And just tell them a little birdie told you. A Birdman, that is. Yo, everybody, how you doing? It is your boy. It's the Birdman with the Birdman Show. Go ahead, do it with me one time. That is right. We are back here on the Birdman Show, and we are doing our second installment of "You Be the Judge." I've been having a lot of fun with this, as you guys already know. Uh, but Carrie, Ace, how you guys doing? Carrie, how are you doing so far with everything we're talking about here?
Doing good. Doing good. This one's a lot of fun, especially since I used to be a CO, so it makes it more interesting for me at least.
Now, how long were you? How long were you a CO?
5 years.
So, like, what kind? Now, I'm assuming you weren't in a minimal security prison because you
I
already
actually
kind of figured that.
worked in a county jail, but I was a sworn deputy.
Wow, that
We
is
had
pretty
a
cool.
454 bed county facility.
Yeah, that sounds like some of the barracks that I stayed in when I was in the military. Oh, okay, Ace, how the heck are you doing there, brother?
For those that don't know what a CO is a corrections officer. I just figured I'd throw that out because some people be like, CO care of, Carrie off the rails. I'm like, I don't know, but I'm doing great. Like Carrie said, this one is a lot of fun. I'm not sure exactly how we got off the rails, but we're not even half hour into it, and we've already got Carrie to the point where she can't deal with this tonight. So we're doing good. let's keep it going.
I don't even know why you didn't say that. Make that statement. I don't know how we got off the rails. Have you met us? Um, all right. So just to do a quick recap. We are doing, like I said, we're doing our second installment of "You Be the Judge," where Carrie brings us court cases. Ace and I act as judges. You, the audience, acts as a jury, and we try to figure out, make heads and tails of what's going on in these cases that she's bringing to us. And right now, we're talking about a case that is, in all intents and purposes, it's strange, but kind of straightforward. I'll bring this back up for those who are just joining us. They can see that again. This is the case on A Prisoner's Dilemma: Escape or Die. Like, just the title alone, just makes me. It just screams some type of action movie that maybe stars Sylvester Stallone and maybe Arnold Schwarzenegger, like they did in what's that movie, Escape Plan. That just
Jean-Claude.
screams, action. What are you saying, Ace?
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
That could be another good one. Like earlier Jean-Claude Van Damme. Have you seen him lately?
I've
Doesn't look
seen
so
him
good.
lately. I don't think you can do those high kicks anymore.
No, he's no, because he probably kick his colostomy bag out. But 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 yeah, we're talking about this case that involves some very strange happenings going on. Uh, Carrie, give us just a little snippet, brief summary of what we've been talking about, and then we'll go jump into this next part of the case.
So we've gone over the first witness, the assistant squirrely dude. I just don't like him. The way that he was like, "Do I really have to answer?" He was the first
Wait,
witness.
ma'am, wait. Did you
What?
just call one of the witnesses squirrely?
He was squirrely.
Okay, all right,
Now,
okay.
I was
on her behalf, it was the administrator of the prison. So
assistant.
they're fishy anyway.
Mhm.
I know exactly what direction I went.
So we heard
I thought I'd put that up there because I thought that'd definitely be funny.
so we heard from the administrative assistant basically, and I didn't like him because he was like, "Well, I was told not to talk about this unless you order me to," and that just bugged me. But we're getting ready to go into the next witness, and eventually we'll get into some really juicy stuff.
Okay, yeah, I'm ready for the juicy stuff. All right, let me go get my bib. You know what I'm saying? Let me go get my bib, some wet naps.
I don't think you need wet naps, but you know.
I'm just saying because you said the juicy stuff. I'm thinking like, you know what I'm saying? Like when I go to an all you can eat buffet, you got the wet naps, my own bib, monogram bib.
Did you forget to eat before we started?
I actually ate right before we started, but I'm still hungry.
Okay, if y'all are
stuff and he goes straight to food.
I
But
see
you said
that.
we're gonna get ready to get into the juicy stuff, and then you stop.
Well, I wanted to see if y'all had anything to say before I move.
Juicy stuff.
Are you ready?
Let's go. Carry on,
Yes,
Carrie.
please.
All right, so the next witness is Robert Marquez. He is a deputy sheriff, and at around 2 p.m., he was patrolling the mountain area about 10 miles from the prison. He received an APB for a young black man who had just escaped from Sundale, along with a description of what he looks like. So the DA asked, "Did you see someone matching that description?" And he said, "I did. I was driving down Beaver Canyon Road and noticed a hitchhiker walking in the direction away from the state prison." The DA asked, "Well, what did you do?" And he said, "I recognized him right away. He had his shirt off, but he still had his prison pants on." So, no shirt, prison pants. "As I approached, he saw me and bolted down an embankment. And he exited the vehicle and yelled at him to stop or he would have to shoot." So, just a note, because I knew you were going to make that face. When a prisoner escapes from prison or jail and they are convicted, especially of a felony, they have the right to shoot on sight after they issue the warning.
First of all, what you mean I was gonna make that face? But
I
you talking
knew,
about the face I was thinking about the shooting?
yeah, I knew one of you two was going to make that face.
I was making a face about the fact that you just automatically brought him up as being a black male. You could have left that part out. I'm trying to uplift my kings.
Yeah, I knew he was going to say something about that.
Well, that's how the book's written. I didn't write the book.
But you're reading the book.
I'm just playing. I'm saying we trying to uplift that. We trying to lift
You
all
we
mankind
change
up.
it to purple.
Yeah, that'd be fine. No,
Okay.
because then somebody be like, "Oh, he's so black, he's purple." No, I'm good. Never mind. Just leave it there.
No, it was Barney.
It was Barney. And then the DA asked, "Did he stop?" And he said, "Yes, he stopped right away and came back to me with his hands raised, and he got taken into custody." The DA asked, "What did he say?" And the deputy responded, "At first, he gave me a fake name, and he said, 'I know you're lying. I know who you are.' And then he said, 'All right, I'm Eddie Carter. I'm the guy you're looking from Sundale.'" And the DA said, "Did he say anything else?" And he said, "Yes. He begged me not to take him back to Sundale. 'For God's sake,' he said, 'please, I'm begging you. A guy is going to kill me there. I would have never made it through the night. That's why I had to leave.'" And then the DA asked, "When he first saw your sheriff's card, did he make any attempt at all to turn himself in?" And he said, "Oh, no, he ran off right away." And the DA then asked, "Did he ever say anything about trying to contact the authorities to turn himself in?" And he said, "Nothing like that, no." The DA said, "Did you take him back to Sundale?" He said, "No, I took him to the county jail," which is pretty standard operating procedure as far as I know. Y'all good so far?
I'm assuming that the county jail is not. Was it Macy or Mercy or Marcy?
It's whatever county this place was in.
And
Marcy is actually a medium security prison.
okay, that's what I was wanting to see. And my question is, that son of a bitch made it 10 miles in that short of amount of time? You go, boy.
In the dark.
Yeah, right?
Mhm.
Hey, look, man, when you trying to run for your freedom and you trying to run for your life, you ask You ask my old good friend Kunta Kinte. When you running for your life, I don't care if they cut your foot off. You gonna hop along. I'm sorry. Continue.
Okay, so at this point, the prosecutor is done and the defense does their cross examination. Emily asks, did he have any personal possessions with him other than the clothes he was wearing? The deputy responded, he didn't have a thing, no bag, nothing. And when Emily comes back, when he came back to you with his hands up, did he cooperate with you from then on? And the deputy responds, oh, yes, very much so, no trouble at all. And that was it for the deputy. It was a pretty short little interaction.
Okay. If when the deputy picked him up, he had no possessions with him,
Correct.
then where did his possessions go? Because when the warden said that he, or the administrator, whoever, said that he checked his cell block, all of his property was gone. So what happened to it?
Well, what do you think happened to it?
Well, that's
Did he
just
take
it,
it
though.
with him and bury it?
Or did somebody else help themselves to it, considering he was supposed to be dead in the morning?
Or did he conceal it somewhere
Right.
that was gonna be hard for them to find it?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Uh-huh. I'm starting. Okay. You know what? No, keep going. Keep going. I'm not gonna ask any questions yet. I want to hear a little bit more. Give me a little bit more. I want you said we're gonna get to the juicy stuff, and I
Yeah.
don't think you're disappointing right now, ma'am. I don't think you're gonna disappoint right now. So you go ahead and continue. I'm ready to hear this.
Okay, so the next witness is actually the defense. The defense calls their first witness a Lieutenant Robert Hawkins. He is the disciplinary hearing officer at the Marcy Detention Center, which is a medium security prison. So it's a step above Sundale. Emily, the defense attorney, said, sir, I want to take you back to July of 2006. So this was a little over a year prior to the escape, okay? Did you at that time preside over the disciplinary hearing at Marcy Prison involving an inmate by the name of Darius Brown? The lieutenant responds, I did. And what was the charge against Darius Brown? Lieutenant said he was charged with assaulting several Mexican inmates during a race riot. So he's an awesome dude. I thought you were unmuting, my bad. Emily then says, and during that hearing,
Hold up.
he made the motion.
He was arrested and charged for attacking several Mexican inmates during a race riot. And then you say he was an awesome dude.
Sarcasm.
Okay. Just making sure. I was like, how the hell
going
you
up?
call him dude?
No, I assumed that was sarcasm. That's why I didn't say that at first. But it's just listening to the fact that all this stuff this dude is doing while he's in prison. It's like, what the? Yeah, and Deception King, brings up a really good point. He said, I'm assuming he might have traded his belongings for assistance getting out of prison, which is definitely possible. I mean, I'm not saying because I know personally. I mean, I ain't never been in prison. I'm saying I've watched movies and I've seen that happen quite a bit. I'm not saying you can get blueprints to the jail if you have 12 cartons of cigarettes, and some canned beans or something. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you can't get it doing that. 'Cause I don't know. I don't know.
You do know how cigarettes are smuggled in, right? There's no way you're getting a whole
That's what I'm
carton.
saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You have to be dedicated. And really, really, really dedicated and really, really confident you can get out. So yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah, continue.
Okay. Wow. Okay, that took a freaking turn that I did not wanna go down.
Well, how do you think them cigarettes got there?
Well, I know how they get into
I'm
prisons. That's
saying you
what I
said
did
it
for
took a
5
turn that you did
years.
not wanna.
All right, this is an awfully shitty subject. Let's go ahead and turn it back around.
Yeah, please, please. Um, and then Emily says, and during that hearing, was Eddie Carter called as a witness? And then lieutenant responds, he was. And then Emily says, please tell the jury the nature of Eddie Carter's testimony. And the DA takes objection to that. It calls for hearsay. And Emily, I really like this attorney compared to the DA. The DA kind of seems like honestly a dumbass, but that's just me. And she responds, it's not being offered for the truth of the matter being asserted, Your Honor, and therefore does not violate any hearsay rules. And the objection is overruled and the witness may answer. Carter testified that he saw Darius Brown lead an assault against several Mexican inmates. And she asked, do you recall the essence of Carter's testimony? Yes, Carter said that he saw Darius Brown stab one of the Mexicans with a makeshift knife made from a soup spoon. And what was your decision as a hearing officer? Darius Brown was determined to be the aggressor in the riot, and he was docked 6 months of good time credit and was placed in lockdown for 6 months and denied early parole, which honestly, that seems really light considering he stabbed at least one person. He didn't get charged with additional offenses, but okay. Um, and then Emily said, well, what was the effect of that case on Eddie Carter? The lieutenant replied that Darius Brown had been a member of a prison gang, and as a result of testifying against Brown, Carter received several threats on his life. He had to be placed into an administrative segregation for his protection, and then shortly thereafter was transferred from Marcy to Sundale. So basically, he testifies against this gangbanger who stabbed people, and they had to segregate him and move him.
What? I'm just saying, if you determine, what I'm saying, if you running for your life, your freedom, you got to be free. You know what I'm saying? Coach said, I got to be free. I'm just saying that's what my man was like. He's like, I gotta get out of here. So he was 10 miles away, a few hours later. That's all I'm saying, I mean, it is what it is. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Squirrel. Oh, Lord. Okay, where did it go? Oh, and then Emily that was asked, did Carter report these death threats to you? And he said he certainly did. We reacted immediately to protect him. And then Emily asked, did he testify truthfully in your opinion? And the lieutenant responded, indeed he did. There was a corroborated evidence. I believed him. It took courage, but in my opinion, he told the truth.
I'm sorry. What
So
was that again? It was what?
don't make me
Corroborate?
say it again. Corroborate, correct. Yeah, I can't say it.
Collaborating?
That.
Okay.
Yeah,
You take a wrong turn in Albuquerque?
you always do.
Okay.
Words
All
are
right.
hard.
Roger that.
Words are hard, guys. Words are hard.
That's what she said.
I did. I just said it.
Literally.
So the defense rests with this witness, and the DA comes up to start questioning the lieutenant. DA asks, when an inmate is the target of death threats, what action does the prison staff take to protect the threatened prisoner? And Lieutenant responds, it's kind of generic, and that kind of bugged me, but he says, we take all necessary precautions to protect him. What does that mean? That means something different everywhere, and but hey, whatever. The DA asked, and if in this case Eddie Carter told the prison staff at Sundale of the threat against him, would the staff have taken all necessary precautions to protect him? And the defense attorney, Emily, she objects. She says he can't tell us what the staff at another prison would do. The judge sustains it. And the DA says, okay, let me ask this way. Was the staff at Sundale governed by the same policy as the staff at Marcy? And Lieutenant responds, absolutely, all prison staff operate under the same rules. But just because they operate under the same rules does not mean that they are actually applied the same across the board. Plain and simple, because you would have to have one administrator running both prisons.
Well, I mean, that kinda goes hand in hand with, any type of honestly, most laws out there. Why you see this stuff out there with police officers, these people putting them on video like, "Oh, you don't know the law?" And it's like, "Well, that's not how we do things here." Well, that doesn't mean that's how it's supposed to be done. Just because you decide you want to enforce a different type of law or forcing a law your way doesn't mean it's the right way if it's not across the board. So, yeah, I hear what you're saying on that. So, no, Imma hold that question. Okay, go ahead.
All right.
I
Huh?
asked in the beginning, is this a jury trial or is this
Yes,
just in front of a judge?
it's jury trial.
Okay.
These are all jury trials. Um, the DA asks, is a prisoner ever justified in escaping? And the lieutenant starts to respond. He says, well, it would take extreme conditions, but, and then Emily jumps in and says, objection. It's for the jury to decide if the escape was justified. And the judge agrees and does not allow the lieutenant to answer the question, which I think is the right call because that's why they're in court, is for the jury to decide, was he justified? So the DA rests with this witness, and the next witness up is Eddie Carter himself.
Okay, so I do have a question. Okay, so when it comes to something like this, okay, so we're trying to figure out if he's justified in escaping prison, because he feared for his life and all that stuff, right? But I don't know. Okay, he's in prison.
Yes.
He's escaping, even if it's for his life. It's like, I guess I'm gonna have to wait until we get to the end till I can find out till we hear what the actual um different verdicts we can hand down before I guess I can really answer that question for myself or anything else. So yeah, I'll hold off. I'll hold off.
What is your question?
Well, I don't know. I guess it's just like, like you said, they're trying to, find out if he was justified in escaping from prison. I mean, do you understand how that sounds?
Oh, I
Like
know.
you're
I
justified.
agree.
Yeah, that's why I guess why I was getting kind of hung up on was the fact that wait a minute, they're trying to justify him escaping from prison. He's in prison because he obviously got found guilty of a crime. So I guess you can, if there's circumstances and things that you can escape from prison and not get in trouble, or so I guess that's where I'm at right there. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it thankfully at the end before deliberation, the judge does explain the circumstances, why it's acceptable in some cases. It does explain it a little bit more than what we have right now. But yeah, when I was first reading this, I was like, there's never a good reason to escape prison. Unless maybe it's on fire or something, because then you're gonna literally die in flames, but that's it. That's the only reason I can think of. No, apparently there's other reasons. And I don't know that if like I said, every jurisdiction is different. So it might be okay in Sundale, but in where I worked, there was no reason to escape. If you escaped, you got a charge. Period. End of story. So, yeah. So next up is Eddie Carter. He takes the stand and he looks lost and scared. Under questioning from his attorney, he admits that he escaped and he said he would do it again or he would be dead. He also admits that he's been convicted of 2 robberies and having served 2 separate stretches in state prison as punishment. He only has 6 months left to serve on his last offense when he escaped from Sundale. And so Emily starts it off saying, I want to ask you about your testimony at Marcy Prison against Darius Brown. Did you do that willingly? And Carter said, "No, no, I was forced to do it. I was not so brave." He freely admits he was not brave. And Emily says, "Well, what do you mean?" Carter said, "They told me that if I didn't testify, I would lose any reduction in my sentence and would be charged myself with assault on the Mexicans." Which sucks for him, but that's how it happens. You don't have a lot of rights at all whatsoever when you're in prison. So he was a witness and he was forced to testify. And Emily says, "Did you receive any threats to your life after testifying?" And Carter said, "Yes. They put me in protective custody and then moved me to Sundale." And Emily says, "Tell the jury why you escaped from Sundale prison." "Yes, ma'am. I had no intention of escaping before that night. For God's sake, why would I escape and face 4 more years in the joint? I only had 6 months left to do on my last robbery gig. But then this guy, Jeremy Brown, came up to me that night." And Emily says, "Had you ever met him before?" He said, "No, I've never laid eyes on the dude before that night." And Emily says, "Well, what night was that?" And he said, "The night I split. He came up to me when we were waiting in line for evening chow. He asked, 'Do you know who I am?' I said, 'No.' And he said, 'I'm Darius Brown's brother. I know what you did to him.' And then Emily asked, 'Well, what did you say?' And Carter said, 'They forced me to do it.' And then what did he say? And Carter replied, he said, it's payback time. You'll be a dead motherfucker by morning." And he actually turned to the judge at this point and apologized for cursing in his courtroom, which I thought was adorable. I know, I'm weird.
Wow. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So wait, before you continue, how much more of his testimony do you actually have?
A decent amount because we still have the rest of Emily asking questions, and then the DA has to cross examine him.
But it was adorable.
The apology was adorable. Some people don't think about it. They don't care. They're just like dropping F bombs.
Okay.
I never
All
claimed
right.
to be a normal person,
Are
okay?
you saying that I need to apologize?
Huh?
Are you saying that I need to apologize?
Sometimes. Why are you
That's some fuck
yelling?
shit.
Oh, for the love of God, people, for the love of God. Um, okay, so you said you have the rest of his attorney ask some questions, right? And then you gotta get into the cross exam.
Yes.
Sorry, I clicked the wrong button. Okay, so go ahead and finish out his attorney's questions, and then once you finish that off, we'll take a quick break before we hit the cross examination into the wrap up. Okay. So yeah, like what I said, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a real quick. Oh wait a minute, no, I meant finish that up. Jesus, Mary, Mother Joseph, I'm tired. Uh,
The messed up thing is he just said, finish it up and then we'll take a break. And then he's like, so we're going to take a quick commercial break.
oh, well, I'm so I am so I'm so ready for a vacation. Okay, so continue on with the questioning from his lawyer. And go.
And so Emily asked, "Did you think he was serious? What did you do?" And Carter replied, "I could tell he meant it. I was scared. I couldn't eat. I went back to my bunk. I lay back thinking about it. I didn't want to die. Then something happened that really put a cap on it." And Emily asked, "Well, what was that?" And Carter said, "I went out to the hall to my locker, and 2 guys had broken into my locker. They were taking all my stuff. I mean, everything. My jacket, my extra underwear, a toilet kit, my baseball cap, all my personal things. They were taking it away when I got there." And I said, "What the hell you doing? That's my stuff." And Emily said, "What did they say?" And Carter replied, "This is what really scared me. They said, you won't be needing it. You'll be dead by morning." And that's when I knew that Jeremy Brown had guys working with him and they meant business. And that's when I decided to make a break for it. He then testifies to his actions after deciding to escape. He said he waited for lights out, snuck out of the dorm and out of the prison grounds. He walked for miles in rural mountain country with no houses or stores. How was he looking for? He was looking for a phone to call his attorney at the public defender's office to ask him what to do. He said he wanted to turn himself in, but he wasn't sure how to do it. He wound up on Beaver Canyon Road trying to hitch a ride when he saw the sheriff's car approaching. And so Emily asks, "What did you do when you saw the sheriff's car?" And Carter said, "I thought about giving myself up, but I was afraid they were going to take me back to Sundale. I know it was stupid, but I decided to run. One thing for sure, I didn't want to go back to Sundale. Those guys were going to kill me there. I wasn't sure what to do, and his mind was all crazy. So he said he guessed he just panicked, and that's when he ran." And that's it for the defense attorney. We still have the DA.
Well, at least
Wow,
now we
that's
know what happened to his stuff. I said, at least now we know what happened to his stuff.
yeah, 100. That's what I was about to say too. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't. Oh man, that's tough. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah,
So that
we'll wait. I'm trying to refrain from.
JT was right. JT said person that threatened him probably took it.
Yeah. Yep. 100. Yep. That's what I was thinking about. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take another commercial break. We'll be back with more of the Birdman Show. So definitely, please stick around and wait for more of the Birdman Show.
Hi, I'm going to tell you about Debbie energy drinks. Debbie is an energy drink you mix at home. No jitters, no crash. Debbie is formulated to give you focus and energy. Their formula contains vitamins, amino acids, and nootropics, including the patented Nuofactor. No calories, no sugar, no fillers, no artificial colors. So if you need something to give you energy to take on the whole world, Debbie Energy is what you need. Go to debbie.gg. That's DUBBY.GG. Use promo code Birdman Show for 10% off your orders and tell them the Birdman sent you.
Yo, what is up? How are you doing, everybody? It is your boy. It's the Birdman from the Birdman Show. Go ahead and do it with me one time. That is right. We are here on the Birdman Show. I am joined with, of course, my main man Ace. We got our special guest Carrie. We're bringing some heat with this one. This one's a doozy. I'm not gonna lie. This one is a doozy. There's a lot of questions that's got going on here. And for, like I said, if you join us, we are doing our second installment of You Be the Judge, where Carrie comes on and reads court cases out to myself and Ace. And we also ask the audience members to be part of the jury as we try to break down these cases, make some sense of them, and Ace and I will then render a verdict at the end of the episode. Yeah, I'm really questioning quite a few things when it comes to this case you brought us there, Carrie. Um wow. I don't okay. Ace, what are you thinking so far about this?
Well, the one question I've got is on that last commercial break that we had. Why didn't Mama do the Birdman call at the end?
I think she was afraid that if she did it, her teeth were gonna fall out.
Valid point.
No, she She said
I,
she told me right when
I
she told me when I first asked her to do it. She told me when I first asked her to do it, she was like, "I'm not doing the Birdman call." I was like, "Okay, fine, you gotta do the Birdman call. I don't care, whatever. Just read the commercial for me." She did a great job though.
yeah, yes, you did. Yeah, I've got some questions too, but I'm going to refrain from asking them right now, just to see if they get answered. What, Mama? Shut up, Taz. Uh, it isn't Mike's nickname Taz, really, brother? Shots fired.
Yeah, your mama hit you. Your mama hit you with the Will Smith.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. But yeah, I'm just going to refrain from asking right now, just to see if they get answered going into the cross examination.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So, all right, so Carrie, you are now at the point where you're about to start going over the cross examination, right? Okay, the floor is yours, ma'am.
All right, so the DA is now asking the questions. And the DA asks, why didn't you contact the staff at Sundale as soon as you received the death threat? Didn't the staff protect you at Marcy? And he said, I didn't think I had time to tell the staff. I couldn't wait till morning. It was different at Marcy. They knew as soon as I testified that I would probably get a threat, and they started to protect me right away, which is common. He was testifying against a gang member. That's common sense. The DA said, you said you intended to turn yourself in. And Carter replied, I did, but I didn't know how. And then he said, well, why did you run from the sheriff? And he said, like I said, it was a stupid thing to do. It was just instinctive. I was so used to running from the police. I mean, he's honest. I'll give him that. The DA asks, why did you give the sheriff a false name? You lied to him. That's what you did. You lied. You want us to believe that you wanted to turn yourself in, but that's not what you did when you had the chance. You lied to the sheriff, and now you're lying to us. You didn't mean to turn yourself in at all. And at this point, the DA starts advancing closer and closer to the witness stand. Um, you just wanted to get free. Isn't that right, Mr. Carter? And then Emily says, objection, Your Honor, he is badgering the witness. And the judge has sustained, let's keep our distance, counselor. I don't know why he was advancing like a prowling shark, but it's very dickheady.
You know sharks.
Huh?
I didn't know sharks prowled.
Proud. Swam. Whatever.
Panthers proud.
Panther.
Lions.
There you go.
Proud.
Hey, that works because he was in the mountain region.
Yes. Y'all right over there. But when he's advancing towards the witness, that's basically to intimidate him so that he doesn't focus on what he's saying, and to see if he can get him to slip up.
Right, but he's also grandstanding. He's not actually asking questions. He's just rapid firing bullcrap out of his mouth, which makes it look like he's drawing straws. He has no idea what he's doing, in my
Well,
opinion.
also could be a tactic of what he's trying to do is rile him up enough to where maybe he lunges at him or starts yelling stuff that he really shouldn't be saying and all this other stuff. So there's a lot of I've seen it happen before. Once again, not firsthand. I watch a lot of movies, but I've seen it happen before. Um, so I mean, I understand it. I really gonna have to rethink some of the things I say because people are really gonna think I'm like doing all kind of stuff with my life. Uh, maybe we shouldn't do live anymore. Maybe we should just go back to recording. That way I can go back and edit things. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead and continue.
And then the DA goes on to say, and another thing, if you wanted to turn yourself in, why did you take off your prison shirt? Wouldn't the shirt attract attention so you would be reported and picked up? Wouldn't that be a good way to turn yourself in? And he responded, "I took the shirt off because it started to get too hot. That's all." He's hiking through 10 miles of the woods, so I would imagine it would get too hot. Um, and the DA comes back, "Too hot? Is that your answer? I tell you why you got rid of your prison shirt. You did that because you didn't want to be recognized as a prisoner. You wanted to escape, like really escape. Isn't that the real reason, Mr. Carter?" And Carter replies, "You can say what you want, but I'm telling you the truth." And that's the end of testimony.
Now, if he wanted to be undetectable and make it so that nobody recognized him in his prison club, wouldn't he have taken his pants off too?
Yeah. So the one time we had an escape at the jail I was working at, we had different color jumpsuits depending on what status you were as a prisoner. If you were in work release, you had stripes. If you were a sentenced prisoner, you had a blue. If you were pre-trial, like you haven't been found guilty or not guilty yet, you were in orange. And the guy that escaped was he was in a work release detail, but he also had smuggled a blue jumpsuit that nobody knew about. And when he escaped, he switched out of his stripes and put on the blue jumpsuit, but had cut off the top half of it, so it looked like he was just wearing blue pants with his white t-shirt. He was found all the way up in Ohio. He got a good ways away. About 5.5 hour drive.
What the? So, was he just hitchhiking it all the way up there?
No, he had help.
Oh, baby mama showed up.
No, it was a dude. Baby mama was in Ohio.
Baby daddy showed up.
Baby mama was in Ohio.
Oh, so wait a minute. So is it a love triangle? What's going on here?
No, it's just a good friend, I think.
Oh, yeah,
We're
good friend.
we're tracking. We're tracking.
Tracking what?
We're tracking off course.
Okay.
Reel it in.
Listen to him.
Carry
The
on.
squirrel master is telling us to reel it in. I am deeply offended, sir.
Then my job is done.
Okay. So, all right. So he escapes. He tells a story that the guy comes in, tells him he's gonna kill him. Got guys stealing stuff out of his locker. They tell him you're not gonna need it anyway, because you'll be dead by morning. He says, "That's it. I'm chalking up the deuces. I'm out." Okay, so he gets out. He's running like Forrest Gump. You know what I'm saying? He just said, I'll be running, and he 10 miles down, got his shirt off, working on his tan. When the sheriff pulls up, and he originally decided he was going to try to run because he thought they were going to take him back to Sundale, correct?
That was what flashed through his mind, yes.
Okay. But he eventually gave himself up, no problems whatsoever, because in his mind, he was like, "Hey, I'm turning myself in. I just don't want to go back there." Um, so, so did you already tell us about how long it took them to find him? Was it because I know he was about 10 miles away, so I don't know what.
It doesn't specify. I just know that he escaped at night and he was found the next day. But I don't know if it was, I don't think it said any specific times.
Now, is now when they say they say lights out, is it standard in most all prisons, or do they just have their own times when they do that?
Uh, I There's always a lights out, but the time probably changes.
Okay.
And the deputy sheriff said that he was patrolling at around 2 p.m. the next day.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, Maybe 7,
It's
8
probably
hours, maybe.
no, it's probably closer to lights out would go be anywhere between probably 8 PM and 10 PM, somewhere in that general area.
Okay, so he could have slipped out. Like, say if they said 8 p.m., he could have slipped out at 9:30.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Is that it for that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and Ace, you said you're holding your questions for after we find out what we're gonna be doing here, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, is there any other evidence, any other witnesses that you want to bring?
No. This next part, the judge basically gives the instructions, and then we have the closing testament or the closing statements from both the prosecution and the defense.
All right, lay it on us.
Okay, so to the members of the jury, you have all heard the evidence, and now it is my duty to instruct you on the law that applies to this case. You must accept the law and follow the law as I stated to you, regardless of whether you agree with the law or not. You must not be influenced by pity for the defendant or prejudiced against him. The defendant, Eddie Carter, is charged with committing the crime of escape from prison. He claims he has to commit the crime in order to save his life, and therefore he has raised the defense of necessity. I wish to define that defense to you. A prisoner is not guilty of a crime of escape if he escapes from the prison because of necessity. The defendant has the burden of proving by a preponderance of the evidence, which are as follows. Number one, the prisoner was faced with a specific threat of death or great bodily harm in the immediate future. Two, there was no time for complaint to authorities. Three, there was no time or opportunity to resort to the courts. Four, there was no evidence of force or violence towards prison personnel or innocent persons in affecting the escape. And five, the prisoner immediately reported to authorities as soon as they attained a position of safety from immediate threat, or if apprehended before the opportunity arose, fully intended to report immediately to authorities after attaining a position of safety. The fact that the witness has been convicted of a felony may be considered by you only for the purpose of determining the believability of that witness. The fact of a conviction does not necessarily destroy or impair a witness's believability. It is simply one of the circumstances that you may take into consideration in weighing the testimony of that witness.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So, I'm the Ace. This is where you can ask your questions. I'm gonna ask her. I'm gonna leave this up for a little bit longer, so that everybody can take a look at it. This is where you can ask your questions. Uh, and as we're asking our questions, I'm referring to the studio audience. As we're asking our questions, do me a favor, put in the comments. Tell me what you think um, should be the consequence for this man. Should it be 1, 2, 3, or 5? You can put the 1, 2, 3, or 5 in the comments. What?
He has to meet
All five.
all 5 of these in order to be found not guilty.
Yeah. So, it's all 5 of these. Oh. Okay. So just guilty or not guilty. Just tell me that. Tell me guilty or not guilty. Let's hear what you have to say. All right, let's go ahead.
Did they question Jeremy?
No. Well, if they did not talk about it in this book.
Okay, so the witness is the person who actually threatened him, and it does not state whether or not he was questioned on the believability of the threat being substantiated.
Right. And if you remember earlier, the assistant dude said that Jeremy was actually had made parole at that point. So he was already out of prison.
Okay, so by the wait, he made parole he was in the prison 2 days before Eddie jumped, and then by the time it went to court, he'd made parole.
So he didn't get charged with death threats or anything, which is weird to me.
How long did it take him to go to court?
It doesn't say, but generally on a case like this, anywhere from 6 months to a year and a half.
Holy fuck. Okay.
The wheels of justice are slow.
Apparently. Okay. That's really the only question I've got right now. I think I have my verdict, but there's one thing that's tripping me up. So, Birdman, back to you.
Okay, and they never. It doesn't say that they questioned the 2 inmates that were taking his stuff out of his locker either, did they?
It did not say.
Okay.
They didn't
I'm
even
gonna have
mention them by name.
They didn't even mention them by name.
No, they were just 2 dudes.
2 dudes.
2
Yeah.
dudes.
At least it wasn't 2 girls.
Y'all didn't even hear me. Why are you laughing?
Because my mind went somewhere. I don't know where yours went, but mine went somewhere.
Okay.
2 dudes. 2
Oh
dudes.
god. Anyways, so okay, so I would have to be under the assumption that they question all these people with the exception of Jeremy. Who by that time, like you said, by the time this course or case went to court, he was already paroled, which I'm still trying to figure out how they let that happen. But whatever. And you talk about the wheels of justice being slow. Kind of reminds me of like when I was in the military, how everything was slow as all get out. So yeah, I get what you're saying there. Okay, so he definitely has. So he has to be found. He has to meet all the criteria of the 5 aforementioned criteria of being found not guilty. Ooh. And that's kind of like. So basically, we're basically almost kind of trying to take him at his word for his account of the events because we have nothing else to kind of back it up because it doesn't say it in the book, right?
No, it doesn't say it in the book.
You consider determine the believability of the witness. It all comes down to whether the testimony from Eddie was believable or not.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. This is gonna be a tough one. This is really and truly gonna be tough. So I tell you what. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take our another quick commercial break. We'll give the people out there in the studio audience a little bit more time to give us their thoughts on this case. Tell us, after all you've heard, do you think he's guilty or not guilty? And we will be right back with more of the Birdman Show and hopefully a verdict. Hopefully it's not a hung jury. We'll be back. Hey, it's the Birdman here from the Birdman Show. And I have a quick question for you. Are you like me and don't know what to do once the college and NBA basketball seasons are over and you still want to watch basketball? Well, I just might have an answer for your basketball blues. The Tri-State 66ers are a minor league basketball team located in Pittsburgh, Kansas. I know what you're saying. But Birdman, I don't live in Pittsburgh, Kansas. How can I watch all the action? No problem. You can check all the games out on their YouTube channel at Tri-State 66ers. That's Tri-State at 66 ERS. And you can also follow them on their Facebook page at Tri-State 66ers, all words, no numbers, to stay up to date with everything going on with the team. So if you want to watch Major League talent on a minor league budget, check out the Tri-State 66ers. And tell them a bird sent you. Birdman, that is. Yo, it's the Birdman here from the Birdman Show. I'm sorry I was jamming there a little bit. That's all that beat was starting to get to me a little bit. Might have to let that ride a little bit. Yo, what's up? It is the Birdman from the Birdman Show. Go ahead, do it with me one time. That is right. You had a mechanical bird, Ace? What the heck was going on there? The bird was a transformer? Was it the Decepticon?
I figured I'd try something at that time, man. Just put them together and just wing it.
Okay, I thought Optimus Prime said to roll out or something. I didn't know what was going on over there. That's right. We are back here on the Birdman Show. We are doing another episode on our new series, You Be the Judge. Like I said before, where Carrie comes on, she reads us out court cases. Yeah, we're taking a course on court cases. Where she reads us court cases and gives us a whole rundown of the defendant, the prosecution on it, where it was at, what the terms were, the reasoning, victims, all that good stuff. Any witnesses, reads us all that, and then gives us the outcomes, possible outcomes of what can come from the case. Ace and I are then tasked with coming up with a guilty or not guilty verdict, but we're not doing this alone because we are also asking those out in the audience for what their thoughts are. And we've got a couple coming in from Deception King. He said guilty. Okay, so he's thinking guilty. Okay, we got another one here that says he meets the 5 criteria if you believe what he says, so he's not guilty. Okay, all right, Tab, appreciate for that. I could have sworn I saw somebody else's on here. Guess I did not. Okay, so all right, so we got two people say not guilty. All right.
Austin, does it show how many people are in the live stream over there?
11.
11. So we have 11 people in the live stream, and only 2 people have posted a verdict. You guys are supposed to be our jury here. How are we supposed to make a shit? I don't know what the hell I'm saying.
A formative decision about who should be guilty.
Well, we still have to hear closing statements.
Oh shit! Yeah, we do. No, we go ahead.
Yeah, we do have to hear closing statements. And when did you say not guilty, Mom?
No, she said I say not guilty, not I said not guilty. Grammar.
Either say it or not say it.
Now.
Okay, continue on with the counselor's closing statements.
Okay, so Emily is the first one up, and she says, "Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk common sense. Just because you are sitting here in a formal atmosphere of the courtroom doesn't mean that you've left your common sense out in the hallway. Let's try to put yourself in Eddie Carter's place. There is no dispute that the threat of his life was serious. The district attorney can't dispute that fact. It was only serious But it was not only serious, but it was imminent. It was late at night. There was no time to arrange a conference with the prison staff to get protection. He could have been killed at any moment. He had to leave to save his life. Other than that threat, Eddie had no reason to escape. With only 6 months to serve on a 5-year sentence, that would be foolish. He had been a model prisoner. To escape would be risking another long sentence, and he was sick of the prison life. He did what any reasonable person would do, what any of us would do under similar circumstances. He had to get out of there as soon as he could, hoping he could turn himself in and serve the rest of his time in another institution. The DA wants to make a big deal over the fact that Eddie ran from the sheriff when he first saw the car. He will argue that proves Eddie had no intention of turning himself in, that Eddie wanted to make a real escape, to be free. But Eddie has experienced that. He admits it was a stupid thing to do. Eddie Carter is not an especially smart man. He never he's never been past the 8th grade. He admits he panicked and ran. Yes, it was stupid, but it was understandable. We have to try to understand Eddie's mindset at the time. We have to try to take into account Eddie's background. He's been running from the police most of his life. He spent most of his adult life in prison. Like he said, it was instinctive. You see the police, you run. Consider also that it was the biggest thing on Eddie's mind. He did not want to go back to Sundale, and for a good reason. He had just been told that he was about to die. Sundale meant death. He was afraid the sheriff would take him back to Sundale. That it was reasonable to fear under those circumstances. The DA will argue that because of that incident with the sheriff, we cannot believe Carter intended to turn himself in. He wants you to believe Carter is lying to you. But consider the evidence as to Eddie's credibility. All the evidence in this case supports the fact that he was telling the truth. The hearing officer at Marcy Prison told us that Carter was truthful, that Carter showed courage in his testimony, and that the lieutenant believed Carter in that hearing. Consider also the incident with the locker. When Carter didn't show up at roll, they searched his locker. It was empty. Everyone thought that he had grabbed his things and taken off with them when he escaped. But Carter told how he saw the 2 inmates taking all of his stuff and tell him that you'll be dead shortly. How do we know that Eddie's account of how the locker was emptied was true? We know that because when Eddie was arrested on Beaver Canyon Road, he had nothing with him. If he had thought about really escaping, he would have planned on taking his things with him. The fact that he left prison with just the clothes on his back supports the claim that he left in a hurry with no pre planning and also supports the inference that Eddie Carter is telling the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, when you are deliberating the fate of Carter, put yourself in his place on the night of his escape. Then ask yourself this question. You have 2 choices: escape or die. Which would you choose? And then it's
Mm.
the DA's turn. I liked her little speech. She did a good job.
Okay, go for it.
The DA gets up and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, let's cut right to the heart." What?
Yes. It was
Yes.
adorable.
It was adorable. Oh, you're going to use that against me? The DA gets up and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, let's cut right to the heart of why the defendant must be found guilty in this case. We do not dispute that he received a death threat. We admit that. If that was the only fact he had to prove, then he should be acquitted, hands down. No question. But the judge told you the law, that the defense of necessity requires 5 elements. Look these over. The threat of death is only one of them. The judge told you that the defendant has to justify or satisfy every one. Look at element number 5. That element says in order for the defendant to win acquittal in the defense of necessity, he must report to authorities after his escape as soon as he reached a position of safety or if arrested before he has a chance to report, must show that he intended to report immediately. The defendant did neither one. What did he do when he saw the sheriff's car? Did he rush to the deputy and report to him? That is what the element 5 requires. Oh, he rushed all right, but he rushed the other way. He took off running, made no effort at all to report. When he was caught, he even gave the deputy a phony name. Actions speak louder than words, and the defendant's actions at the time show he had no intention of turning himself in. They show he intended to escape, like really escape, not just because of the death threat, but because he wanted to be free. He has failed to satisfy element number 5, and therefore his defense fails and he must be found guilty. Ladies and gentlemen, the defendant is a con artist, a twice convicted felon trying to come up with a lame story to get away with his crime. If he had not been caught on Beaver Canyon Road, he'd be 1,000 miles away from here now. Don't be fooled, ladies and gentlemen. Follow the law. The man is guilty, and it is your duty to tell him so.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Ace. I'm assuming you've been kind of keeping track of the verdicts coming in. Okay. So before we start talking about that, what are your thoughts on this case?
They both had very compelling closing arguments. They both were, I mean, you may say that he seemed like a jackass or a dickwad or whatever you said that the defense attorney seemed like to you, but what?
It was the prosecutor.
Oh, the prosecuting. Oh yeah, the prosecuting attorney. But the way that he tried the case may not have been very conventional, but his closing arguments were straightforward to the point. He showed evidentiary facts and everything, and then the I'm destroyed. I know I am. That's life. But the prosecuting or the defense attorney, see, I got him backwards again. The defense attorney, she did as well. She stuck straight to the evidence, showed what type of prisoner he's been throughout the entire time that he's been arrested. So, I mean, it all comes down to principle. It all comes down to what you believe is fact or fiction. So, I don't know. Gives us a lot to think about.
For me, it doesn't give me that much to think about. And I'm gonna say, and the reason why I'm saying that is because of what the DA said in his opening statement of his closing remarks. They acknowledged that he had death threats. To me, especially given in light that he was told that he had to testify, or something's going to happen to him, and then after he does this, now he starts receiving death threats, and they have to immediately put him in protective custody before moving him to another prison. Then someone from that other prison, or someone knows that somebody in another prison, shows up to that prison and tells him they're going to kill him. Now it's a minimum security prison. Yeah, there are guards there, but are they really? So in his mind, he felt that he was in immediate danger. And like he said, I didn't have much time to be able to go talk to the right people in order to let them know what was going on. And so, and then after, of course, he comes out of the shower. I think he said the shower, right? When he came out of, and they were taking his stuff out of his locker, bathroom.
He was in his bunk, on his bunk.
Oh, he's on his bunk. Okay. He's on his bunk, and they were taking his stuff out of his locker. And then they made the comment, well, you're not going to need it. You'll be dead soon or by morning. Either way. That kind of kicks in what I think we kind of consider the fight or flight. And he decided to fly. He was like, I would say, normally I would say R. Kelly, but R. Kelly's in jail. So can't really say that I believe I can fly because he ain't flying nowhere either. So so I can't really use R. Kelly in this situation anymore. R. Kelly, thank you for screwing it up for everybody. But yes. So taking all that in consideration, for me, I I I feel like he for the most part, if everything's true, like I said, we're kind of going off of what the evidence you were able to present to us. I know which way I'm leaning towards. Um, I definitely know which way I'm leaning towards. So I'm very very intrigued to find out how this case actually really turned out. Um, let's see, we have 11 people in watching right now live. Ace, what do you have so far as these verdicts?
I've got 7. You want me to tell you
We
what
have
they are?
7.
Yes, I have 7 out of the 11. 8.
Okay, so we got
out of
7
the
out of the 11.
8. There's only 3 people in the broadcast right now that have not posted a verdict.
Yeah. So
I mean,
so you say
even
you
if
have
those
8
3
verdicts now?
verdicts, yeah, I've got 8 right now. Even if those 3 posted their verdict, it still wouldn't be a hung jury.
Okay. So I tell you what, let's just go ahead. Let's give the verdict because even after the end, we still have to make a decision anyways.
She's saying y'all are 3 people.
No, I'm saying you need to mute. You're causing the echo.
What I've got right now is a vote of 6-2 in the favor of not guilty.
Have you voted?
I have not yet. I have not given my closing statement.
So the one thing you have to vote. The one thing I want to say is don't forget he has to meet all 5 of those elements.
Hey, we were listening, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah, but what?
I'll go ahead and give my closing statements. With the case, I understand that he does have to meet all 5 of the criteria, and I'm going to have to go against the jury. The jury voted that he was not guilty. In my opinion, and that's all this is an opinion, but in my opinion, had he not ran from the officer, he would have, for all intents and purposes, met all 5 criteria. But his initial instinct when the officer approached him was to flee. Whether that's what he's used to doing or not, it's what he did. Even though in his testimony, he had made it perfectly clear that he intended to turn himself over whenever he got the first opportunity. Yes, and the lying about his name as well. But with him saying that he was going to turn himself over whenever he got the first opportunity, this was his first opportunity to turn himself over. And like Carrie said, with him not telling them who he was whenever he climbed back up the embankment and lying about his name, that's another thing that says that he had no intention of turning himself over. So my verdict is going to be guilty.
I'm looking at all this, and I hear exactly what you're saying, Ace, and I hear what you're saying too, Carrie, about him lying about the name, and everything. But my question would be, what would you do if you're in that situation, knowing that if you got caught, taken back, they're going to take you right back to where that situation was, where quite possibly you'd be dead by the evening. If you're really that fear of your life, maybe you're trying to get away as far as you can before you can actually turn yourself in. Because maybe you have a better chance of going somewhere else, or at least having a better chance of getting hold of somebody where you can tell your story before the authorities come there to take you back. So maybe they can put you somewhere else, or at least make sure that you have better protection there in an event something happens. For me, it comes back to mindset. And I think, even though I kind of giggled when Carrie read that part about him not being a smart man, it makes more sense, because in a situation like, he may not be thinking, what's the smart thing to do? What's really the smart thing to do here? Maybe I should tell them the truth about my name. Maybe I should tell them the truth about what's going on. I really struggle with it, because it's hard for me, because I guess the way my mind works, there's so much information that my brain is trying to fill the gaps in for. That makes it kind of difficult. If I was having to go based off of this, yes, I do have an issue with the name part, and yes, I do have an issue with him taking off running. But if it's something you have done your whole entire life, I'm sorry, I don't care how we feel. That's what they're conditioned to do. Or even if they know, well, they may not know, but even if they think that, hey, this is the right thing to do, but you know what? I've been doing this my whole life, and it just kicks in. Instinct just kicks in. Sometimes you just do it and you don't even know why you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, ask any group of black people. You stand in a group of black people, they see one black person running, they all running. They ain't asking no questions. They're not trying to coordinate the running. They ain't trying to sit there and call nobody's number. They all run. Okay? We ain't gonna sit there and ask questions. I see you running, I'm running. Now I'm telling you right now, if either one of you two are with me anywhere, and I don't run from much of anything. But if you see this black dude right here running, you better call an Uber or something, because I already know you ain't gonna outrun me. All right. So you better call somebody to come pick you up and hurry him get the heck out of there. So for me, I don't know, man. If I'm looking at it that way, like I said, even though the name thing and him taking off at first bothers me, but the point is he immediately came back. Now the officer could have said, "Hey, if you don't stop running, I'm gonna shoot." Yeah, he could have, but I'm pretty sure he had a handgun, and I guarantee you he's not that proficient at with using that handgun, and probably wouldn't have even come close to hitting him. So he still could have ran. You know what I'm saying? Or he could have ran until the guy shot him. Either way. So I'm saying not guilty. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be one of those things where I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Before we read off everything, let's go to a couple of these comments here. Um, I guess Britt hasn't. She didn't vote because she was cooking. Okay, so thank you, Brett. I appreciate that. Yeah. No one is safe. Of course, Carrie, she had said, there's a line about the name that bothered her, which I totally get. Tabitha, what you got? Giving a different name is probably the norm due to his life choices. Yeah, it's kind of going along with what I was saying. So yes, thank you so very much. What we got here? My man, Deception Kane. The only reason I could validate him lying about his name is if the original gang member he killed was a hit orchestrated by the prison staff. Now that brings up another good point because it's not like something like that has never happened. So that's a very good point there. Who's Deception King?
We discussed this last time. It's her shadow.
And I forgot since last time.
Oh.
Oh, he probably read the case already, didn't he? I'm playing. That's cool though. That's great. That's a great point though. I mean, that's a unbelievably great point because I mean we all know. Well, I'm not saying we all know because I mean I don't know. I watch a lot of movies, like I said before. But 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 the prisoners and staff, you know what I'm saying, you give the right you get the right money out there, get the favors in and all that. There's a lot of prisoners that get a lot of staff that are basically on their payroll or in their pocket. And it's not unheard of for something like this, like Deception King just said. It's not unheard of for something like that to happen. I'll pull that up one more time. It's not unheard of for this to be a thing. So like I said, we're not having all the information. There's so many different possibilities. So somebody just else. Okay, Mama came in. Mama Joe came in. I agree about the line, but he was scared about going back to the same place and being killed. I agree with you, Mom. I agree with you.
Wait.
Point.
Pull Deception King back up there. Is that Chewbacca?
It's a skull with a beard.
All right. All right. I guess in that little circle there, it looks like Chewbacca.
I'm not seeing Chewbacca, man. Chewbacca's furry all over.
Well, it's just his head.
There's no fur right here. You know what? Reach.
Maybe I should put my glasses on.
Anyways, nice try. It's not really a reach. See, Becca said she saw Chewbacca. Okay, all right. So
I'm this
we've
close
got
to
our
Googling
votes
a picture.
our verdicts in. The jury has voted. You said 6-2, right, Ace, for not guilty. Ace has said guilty. I've said not guilty. So like I said, I'm very interested and intrigued to find out exactly what. I'm really trying to. I'm really fixing. Like I said, she said Chewbacca. Yeah, she saw Chewbacca.
Do I need to Google a picture? Because clearly y'all don't remember what
I
Chewbacca
know
looks like.
what don't you? First of all, hold up, ma'am. Don't you dare fix your lips to tell me I don't know what Chewbacca look like. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Don't you, ma'am? There's about to be a whole nother episode of you be the judge. You keep messing around with me when it comes to Star Wars. Play with me, woman. Woo! Oh my Lord. Almost. Oh,
Are
where
you
my
done?
blood pressure cuff at? Where my blood pressure cuff at?
Are you done? You good? All right,
I need
Carrie.
water.
Somebody get him some water before he passes out.
Carrie, go ahead and read the verdict.
By the way, Rain said not guilty. For those who don't know, that's my granddaughter. She's a year and 11 months old, or she's a year and 11 days old.
Brittany says not guilty. Go ahead, Carrie. Carry on, Carrie.
Well, the real life jury and Rain are smarter than Ace and found him not guilty. I had to talk some smack. I'm sorry. When the jury was interviewed after the trial, they said that it was Carter's believability on the stand that turned the tide in his favor.
Good job, Rain. She swayed the vote. So so that's awesome. That is awesome. I'm glad that had a happy ending as far as that's concerned. That's crazy though. That is, I learned a lot. I mean, of course, granted, my extensive court knowledge was from CSI and
Law.
SVU. That's pretty much my extent of and Matlock, Perry Mason. That's my courtroom knowledge. Anyways, but I did learn a lot from this case because I just did not, like I said at the beginning, I was hung up on the fact that they were trying to justify, him having a reason to escape prison. I'm like, what? There's no what? I mean, other than to be out of prison and not serve your sentence, there's no reason to escape prison. But I mean, that makes a lot of sense. So wow, okay, cool. Ace, in defeat, how are you feeling, brother?
Well, like I said, had it not been for the fact that he had ran from the officer to begin with, I would have voted or I would have said not guilty. But it was the initial encounter with the officer that set the precedence for my verdict. But he served his 6 months and got out, I'm assuming, since this was not guilty.
He probably was actually there longer than 6 months because since how long it takes to get to trial. So he was probably there a year after his release date.
Oh yeah,
At
because
least.
they had to hold him until it went to court. That's right.
And he was probably in a maximum security prison waiting for trial because he had escaped from prison.
Yep, valid point. Okay. But yeah, I mean, time served. I'm sure as soon as the case was, or as soon as the verdict was rendered, they announced that he was a free man. So, good deal.
Wow, that is wow. I completely forgot that you said that that he had to be he was that trial went like almost a year later. So yeah, he definitely served an extra 6 to 7 months in jail for that. Wow, that's crazy. Oh, okay. Well, that was totally fun, kiddos. Uh Ace, why don't you do me a favor, buddy, real quick? Says I want to get you out of here so we can get you back onto your trivia night. Why don't you tell the good people what is going on right after the Birdman Show?
Right after the Birdman Show, Okay. I just saw private chat. I was like, huh?
How would you not? You messaged me in the private chat first. What are you talking about?
Well, I didn't see that anybody fucking commented after it. And then I looked over and I said, oh, hell, there's two. Awesome. But anyway, right after, let's see, it's right down there. You see it right there. Right after the podcast, I go live on TikTok from 8 p.m. Central to 10 p.m. Central, and we have trivia. Like it says right over there, that is what you're going to search for. It is TLB, as he says, hyphen ACE. And if it shows me live, come join the live. It's always a good time. So hope to see you there.
Yes, and I will also say real quick, Ace, where just remember wherever you're pointing, that's the opposite way. So you're
Over there.
yeah. So your profile name is over there. I'm over here. So yeah, that's profile name's that way. Where your thumb's pointing that way, that's where I'm at. So it was opposite. I was like, where is you? What?
Because
Where's
every
he
time you
pointing at?
say he, you're pointing at me.
Yeah, that's just very rude. You know, she works hard.
Is that why
Be a
you
real,
to
be a
the
real girl, huh?
whenever you're talking to me? I guess it'd be
No,
your
I just look straight at the camera. I don't even try to look at you guys. I just look straight at the camera.
Okay.
That way I don't have to worry about it.
But
yeah.
who's you
Huh?
talking to, Carrie?
What?
He's not here anymore. He's back home. Are you talking about? Oh,
Never mind.
I got it. All right. Ah! Ow!
Anyways. So yes, that's what's going on right immediately after the Birdman Show. Is trivia night with Ace over on his TikTok at TLB hyphen ACE. And then don't forget about on Thursday night at 6 p.m. Central Time, you got the Birdman Show recap, where we're going to be talking about, of course, tonight's episode. Not only will we be talking about tonight's episode, but we will also dive into future upcoming episodes, as well as we will talk to the viewers about what they would like to hear and see from us on the Birdman Show. Don't forget, if you'd like to be a sponsor of the Birdman Show or come help subscribe to the Birdman Show to help us out, help the channel grow, go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/the Birdman Show. Subscribe. Really kindly take any donations that you may have. We really appreciate it. You can also find us on our Discord channel at discord.gg. I'm not reading all that out. That's just that's the thing they gave me. So screenshot it. I'm not doing all that. I'm not putting in a cheat code for freaking Diablo 4 or something. Just take a screenshot. It's like the whole freaking alphabet up there, crying out loud. It's okay. I'm just not doing it. It's just not happening. I'm sorry. I apologize. Yeah. So we definitely want to thank everybody for coming out, joining us here on the Birdman Show for this episode of You Be the Judge. Carrie, do you have anything that you would like to say in closing remarks for the good people?
Not about the case, no.
Hey, you leave me alone.
I wasn't going to say anything about you.
Sure you weren't.
Right? He is so squirrely right now. It's not even funny. He's even bouncing around in his seat. Looks like he did a line of pixie sticks. Literal pixie sticks. 2 pixie sticks? Oh, sweet Jesus.
Okay.
I even got the next case picked out.
What's the title of it? Sorry, I was muted. I didn't realize.
It is I Won't Let Rosa Die.
I won't let Rosa die. Not my sweet Rosa. No, Rosa. Okay.
Elsie Warner, the
That
Guardian,
sounds awesome.
versus
Sure.
a doctor.
Everybody knows. Next week's episode is, or we got Hunter, right?
Supposedly, yes.
Okay. If we're not able to get Hunter on here, then we're gonna have to do it. Ace or shit, I'm Ace. That's Birdman. We're gonna have to wing it, and next week's episode is going to be on the Russian sleep experiment. That's going to be a fun one.
It's so jacked up.
Yeah,
Yes.
if you don't really know much about it,
Thanks for the
um,
Cheetos.
I would definitely maybe read up on it a little bit or listen to a podcast. Heck, you can go to Spotify and look up podcast and just type in Russian sleep experiment. It's pretty messed up. But I will say this. There are some things I will reveal about that actually is you're probably not going to find in any research that that we're going to do for this episode. So just be prepared. That should be a very interesting episode. So definitely you need to be prepared for that. And come back and join us. Like I said, we'll be back here next week, 6 p.m. Central Time. Almost did it. Almost did it again. Almost got me. You got me. But 6 p.m. Central Time right here back on our new home, StreamYard and YouTube live. So we are definitely looking forward to that. Like I said, don't forget, join Ace for his live TikTok trivia night going on right now. Don't forget about the Birdman Show recap Thursday, 6 p.m. Central Time over my platform, which I don't even think I even put up there. Yeah, I did. Which is on my platform over on TikTok at Birdman Show. And then like I said, we'll be back here to do this all over again next week. Everybody, I really want to thank you once again for joining us on this episode of the Birdman Show. Really enjoyed it. And I thank everybody once again. We will see you guys next week on the Birdman Show. Birdman out.
Nick, you're stupid.